Before we dive in, tell us where you're watching from and which fight you want more. Tyson Fury vs Alexander Usyk 3 or the long-teased all-British blockbuster Tyson Fury vs Anthony Joshua? Tap like if you want real heavyweight boxing coverage without the fluff, subscribe for Fight Week news and analysis, and hit the bell so you don't miss updates on dates, venues, and broadcast details as they drop. When Tyson Fury announced his retirement, again, most of the boxing world took it with a pinch of salt. He has said goodbye before, only to come roaring back the moment the right fight presented itself. This time, that right fight always looked like a trilogy with Alexander Usyk. Two close, high-level meetings have left fans wanting a definitive chapter. And Fury, ever the competitor, has shown no appetite for low-stakes nights when legacy fights are on the table. But a third Fury-Usyk fight still hasn't materialized. Fury has not boxed since losing to Usyk for a second time last December. Meanwhile, Usyk has kept active, turning back Daniel Dubois again and keeping a firm grip on his place atop the division. For Fury, the wait has been brutal. When you live in fight shape and your calendar stays empty, the mind wanders. That's why, for a stretch this year, it felt like we were finally going to see the Fury vs Anthony Joshua showdown Britain has begged for since 2018. Talks flared, dates were teased, and the mood changed from dream to deadline. Then reality bit. Frank Warren, Fury's promoter at Queensberry, went on record, Tyson won't sit around and wait for Joshua to take a tune-up. Not now, not when there's unfinished business with Alexander Usyk. Warren's stance was blunt. There's endless chatter about Joshua, he said. There's chatter about a warm-up fight. Fury isn't waiting for that. The fight he really wants is another go with Mr. Usyk, Warren told reporters. He really wants that. And they were great fights, really close fights, to watch. I'd watch that again. That's the fight he wants. That's the one he talks about all the time. The immediate problem? No one, including Warren, knows what Usyk wants next. I don't know what he's going to do, he admitted. There's a sense Usyk could bide his time through late October to see how certain heavyweight results shake out, particularly Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley, before committing. In a division where sanctioning bodies, mandatories, and broadcast partners all tug at the calendar, even a simple yes can take months. If Fury-Usyk 3 lands, it will do so under the banner of legacy. Their first two meetings were knife-edge chess matches, measured tactics, tight rounds, and dramatic swings in momentum. A third meeting offers closure. Did Usyk truly solve a giant who's reinvented himself under different trainers? Can Fury adjust to a southpaw who refuses to stand still and can box at 3 tempos in a single round? No matter where you stand, the trilogy is a clean ending to a modern heavyweight rivalry. There are risks for Fury that go beyond belts. Inactivity is undefeated. With every month out of the ring, the edges dull, reflexes, sharpness, the muscle memory that separates a world-class heavyweight from a sparring partner rhythm. The Gypsy King is at his best when he's busy. When his feet are playful, his jab is mischievous, and his feints are relentless. The longer he waits, the more ring rust becomes part of the game plan. And ring rust against Alexander Usyk is a luxury nobody can afford. On the business side, the puzzle pieces are familiar. Queensberry and Top Rank handle Fury. Usyk's team scripts their own careful course. Saudi Arabia has emerged as the heavyweight division's eager underwriter, turning Riyadh season weekends into global events, while Wembley remains the spiritual home of a British mega-night. Broadcasters and streamers are flexible when the heavyweight crown is at stake, but the fight still needs dates, dollars, and details. Rematch clauses, purse splits, rehydration limits, glove sizes, these are not trivial footnotes. They are the difference between signatures and stalemates. The Anthony Joshua thread is both irresistible and infuriating. For years, the idea of Fury versus Joshua did numbers all on its own. Two contrasting champions with massive followings, a national event the size of a cup final. This latest iteration looked real enough to get fans excited. Then came the talk of a Joshua tune-up. From Fury's perspective, the window for that fight is finite. Fighters peak, rhythms change, and there's a trilogy with Usyk in his head that won't go away. Sitting idle while Joshua shakes off cobwebs is exactly the kind of drift Fury wants to avoid. From Joshua's side, a tune-up makes sense. He's rebuilt, adjusted trainers, and has found a more patient, clinical rhythm. Another live round or two against a manageable opponent is textbook career management. But every careful move by Joshua is a delay for Fury, and a delay that drags an already complicated year out to the edge of 2025. That's how big fights die of old age. The question that hovers over Usyk's next move is the map of mandatories and movers at heavyweight. Joseph Parker's resurgence is real, and Fabio Wardley's rise has the domestic scene buzzing. Usyk can afford to look down the chessboard before committing. If he waits to see Parker-Wardley at the end of October, it's not stalling. It's strategy. Align the belts. Keep leverage. Then decide. If Usyk does hold off, Fury has choices, none of them as good as the trilogy. He could take a stay-busy fight to ditch the rust. But a stay-busy night at the top of the heavyweight division is rare. One wrong step, one clash of heads, one awkward fall, and Fury's 2025 is chaos. He could lean into the Joshua fight and force the issue. But in the current climate, that means swallowing a schedule he doesn't control. Warren's line tells you what Fury feels. He's not interested in being a passenger. From the fans' point of view, the patience is wearing thin. Retirement speeches don't shock anyone anymore. Teasers and walkbacks are part of the Fury brand, but the appetite is for action. Polls, podcasts, and pub talk all point to the same thing: clarity. If it's Fury, Usyk 3, pick the date, pick the venue, and get the cameras rolling. If it's Fury, Joshua, cut the tune up, do the deal, and give Britain its night. Technically, Fury, Usyk remains one of the few matchups where adjustments are obvious but hard to execute. For Fury, it's about tempo and traffic. He must slow Usyk's feet, steer him into the right hand, and make the ring feel smaller than it is. That means a commitment to the body, short right uppercuts when Usyk shifts across the front foot, and meaningful clinch work that isn't just rest, it's punishment. The jab can't be a rangefinder. It has to win rounds. For Usyk, it's about misdirection and mileage. He beats big men by making them box when they want to brawl and brawl when they want to box. He'll step around the lead foot, show the rear hand, and touch to the chest to move Fury's guard before letting the backhand go. He doesn't need heavy shots every minute. He needs the right ones, landing at moments that make judges think, control. In close fights, body language sells the story. If boxing were just sport, the trilogy would already be inked. But boxing is business too. That's why a British super fight still hums along in the background. Fury versus Joshua would sell out Wembley in minutes. It would pull record numbers on a Saturday night. It would export worldwide. It is, unquestionably, the biggest boxing event the UK can stage. That gravitational pull never goes away. Timing matters. If the end of October is a decision point for Usyk, then late Q4 or early Q1 becomes the realistic landing zone for Fury's next fight camp. 8 weeks for conditioning, 4 weeks to sharpen, a week to taper. That gets everyone into the new year with a plan. Every slip beyond that compounds risk. Heavyweights can't live in permanent camp. They need dates. Titles complicate this further. Fans will rightly ask if all the belts can be on the line and whether sanctioning bodies will grant exemptions to avoid stripping. Those are moving pieces the public rarely sees until a statement drops at 5 p.m. on a Friday. If you want the undisputed tag on a poster, a lot of phone calls have to go right. All of which highlights why Warren's messaging was so pointed. Fury isn't waiting for Joshua. He's not angling for a curious cash grab. He's locked on the only fight that makes sense to him, Usyk. In a career defined by swerves, from the Vladimir Klitschko upset to the Deontay Wilder trilogy, this is the straightest line he's drawn in years. So what happens next? If Usyk signals he's ready, expect a quick pivot to logistics. City, site fee, TV partners, and rematch language. Saudi Arabia has the resources and recent history to get it done, fast. Wembley has the atmosphere and national pride argument. Broadcast and streaming will follow the money and the belts. Don't be surprised if negotiations become a public pressure campaign. That's how these things work now. If Usyk hesitates, we're back to the blockbusters. Fury Joshua can always be heated up in a week. One tweet from Fury, one response from Joshua, and Britain is arguing venues over breakfast. But a word of caution, almost there, is not there. We've lived that before. If none of that moves, The least likely and most dangerous option is a Fury tune-up. It would do its job, shake off rust, bank rounds, but it invites fate into the ring. At 35+, heavyweights don't get many freebies. Everything matters. What does this mean for the wider heavyweight picture? The division is deeper than it has been in years. Prospects are pushing through, names like Parker and Wardley are making noise, and every top 10 mismatch now looks like a trap fight. That's good for fans, and it's good for the next man up when belts start moving. For Fury, the path is simple in his own mind. One more Usyk fight, the third and final chapter. He believes that's where his legacy is best served. No more retirement monologues. No more flirting with distractions. Just the one opponent he talks about all the time, as Warren put it. For Usyk, the choice is different. He's earned the right to survey the board. He can choose legacy or leverage. He can decide whether now is the time to lock in a third Fury fight or let the rest of the division clear its throats in late October and beyond. For Joshua, the moment is strategic. If he takes a tune-up, he'll be sharper in 2025. If he rolls straight into Fury, the night would be monumental, but the risks are plain. Either way, he remains one half of the only British fight that could stop the nation. And for fans, the ask is clear. Fights, not flirtations. We've had the talk. We've seen the posters. It's time. Your move, Alexander. Tell us in the comments. If you had to pick today, do you want Fury versus Usyk 3 or Fury versus Joshua next? Where should it land? Riyadh, Wembley, or somewhere else? Who wins and how? If you found this breakdown useful, hit like so more boxing fans see it. Subscribe for real heavyweight updates. Tyson Fury retirement watch, Alexander Usyk fight plans, Anthony Joshua scheduling, Frank Warren statements, Joseph Parker versus Fabio Wardley fallout, and tap the bell. We'll be here the moment dates and details are official, with full analysis, undercard news, and fight week coverage from press conference to final bell.